to what we've been hearing at our council is doing our job as being the voice of the people we represent to ask those questions and to demand accountability. And it also uses all the tools at our disposal to do that. But I think what took us some time is to figure out not just what words can we put on a piece of paper, what actions can we take the minute this is adopted. Because what we put on a piece of paper doesn't matter if it's out to anybody if we can't do anything with it. And so the work we did was to figure out what are our powers. One of our powers is financial oversight. So that's the audit. That's figuring out how much public money to spend on November 25th. One of our powers is partnership. That's asking the post board to work with us on that investigation news course. And then one of our powers, and maybe our most important and direct power, is legislation. And our separation ordinance is within our own power to analyze. We don't need to wait for somebody else to do that. And that's the conversation we're going to be having. That's a public conversation we're going to be having once Vice President and report, and that's to have even our phones. But we can start that immediately. So I think this uses all of our powers, and it also balances things that we know will take some time, like the post investigation, and things that can happen in the immediate terms, like an audit, and things that can happen starting tomorrow, is that analysis for our separation ordinance. So thank you again to everyone who's had a hand in this. I think if there's no further discussion, we will see your vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
5 in favor, no opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item number 19 is Resolution 25-1914, outlining the city's 2026 legislative agenda.
This is what we call in the business a very hard pivot. I, again, want to thank everyone who's here for that last item. I will welcome up Eric Peterson from our Intergovernmental Relations Office. And I want to start with just a bit of context for my colleagues and the public. Every year, the city adopts a legislative agenda, which is the city's priorities to advocate for legislation. This year, we wrote a charge together on this ordinance that said we need to adopt that legislative agenda, have it presented to us by the second week of December. Because what we don't want to have happen is have our staff up in the legislature lobby for something that we haven't actually we adopted that ordinance that requires the legislative agenda. However, when
Yeah. Hey, Chief. My name is Jordan Ford. I'm an independent journalist.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, would you like to issue a comment about the resolution?
I mean, we knew this was coming. I asked for the same.
Is it okay if I film you?
Yeah, you.
You gotta get going, Chief, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm from the Pioneer Press and Mayor.
Okay. Yep. What are your thoughts on the resolution that was just passed?
You know, I think it's an extension of what I said the very day of this. All this needs to be reviewed and looked at. We welcome a review like that. You know, there's a lot of information out there right now that just clearly isn't accurate. So the only way to really bring that all to light for our public and if they have any confidence in it is for have someone come and do an independent review, and we welcome it.
What information is out there that's not accurate?
I don't want to get into that. Obviously, I don't want to sit and speculate about things, but there's our information, the way things are being characterized and timelines that just simply are not a reflection of what actually took place. So what we need to do now is we need an independent group to come in, take a look at it, and lay it all out for our public so they can see what really happened.
For the journalists who were attacked, will the officers be held accountable?
Well, that presumes that they were attacked. I don't know that. We're investigating the whole piece, but if mistakes were made by our department, we will surely hold people accountable.
Well, I just know the NPR reporter.
Okay. Did you want to follow
I
me?
just want to ask you about the post board. Do you know if the post board has taken out a look at this kind of thing before?
We were, funny you would say that. We were just having that conversation when we were walking out here. When we heard it was the post board, there's some nice pieces that make sense there.
It's just like a different space and thing.
Get in the post. It looks like we're going. Because this is crazy. Why are we talking about the St. Paul delegation?
Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your leadership.
We'll push. We're
Thank
pushing.
you.
We'll push. Are you Georgia Floyd?
I am.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? Come on in, man. Don't wait. We need y'all.
That happened on November 25th. Why is there no public hearing?
Public hearing.
But why is that? Why are you silencing our community at a time like this?
2026 City Council legislative priorities.
Why is our community being silenced at a time when we were sabotaged our community? We had children and kids. Why are you guys silencing our community at a time like this?
Recess until we can have order. I'm very sorry. We're not going to.
This is not order.
This is not order. For you, this is business as usual when you guys sabotage the community. And then you silence our community.
And you have the discretion to change the policies and practices. Right?
And then you
now,
told somebody
use your
last
discretion.
week that they had
You are
2
in
minutes
power.
to speak. The president of the city council told a woman last
walk
week
away.
that she had 2 minutes to speak.
Your passivity is violent.
We should have had a right to speak on this today. With the egregiousness that happened at the hands of the St. Paul police, there are families out here that are traumatized.
With so many women on the council, we would think that you all would have more
And she got up and walked out, the president?
and understanding regarding the community being heard at a time like this. This is very serious.
Yes.
And the fact that the mayor showed up at the 11th hour with no answers was unacceptable. And look how long you guys have had to address this and it hasn't happened. People shouldn't have to force their way into being heard about something that should matter to everybody in this room. And if it doesn't matter to the people sitting in the audience, it should matter to you all as leaders in terms of hearing what people have to say. There's a lot of pain and trauma that people are carrying around what they witnessed. They thought St. Paul was the last place that they would expect to see the police department engaging in violence towards residents. Completely unacceptable. And you all know that. So to not allow the community to have their say at a time like this is just unacceptable. You have options on how to handle things like this. So to move on with business as usual is just very disturbing.
And for the president to sit there and try to shut us down right now in this moment because we're asking the simple question, why are we being silenced at a time like this when something as egregious as what happened to the community on November 25th, and then she gets up and walks out and she's the president of you guys city council? Last week, she told one of the community members that came out to speak about this that they had 2 minutes. That she said you have 2 minutes to say how this is relevant to what we're talking about. After that had just happened a week beforehand. Tell me where the humanity in this situation is. Yes, you passed the resolution and we're grateful and appreciative of that. But you also have to acknowledge that there are people that are traumatized. There are people that are hurting and in fear from what happened November 25th. So how can you not allow the public to speak right now in this moment and then the president gets up and walks away?
And the reality is, Councilmember Jost just said that, the last 2 weeks have been issues, right? Right now, in this city, we have federal agents that are somewhere just running rampant. Running rampant. And I know you guys want to get on with business as usual. So do I. But I'm getting an alert every 15, 20 minutes of where I have to show up on scene to make sure St. Paul PD is not just terrorizing our communities. And if you guys can't take the time right now, during your business meeting, to actually hear from the community about this, you took the few minutes to pass the resolution, but that's your own personal thing. You've got to hear the trauma of the community. Unfortunately, sometimes this happens as an elected official where things are happening in the community and you want to get on with business as usual, but you got to pause. You've got to pause and listen to your elected. Listen to the people who elected you.
Do you know the immigrants in your community? That's my question. East St. Paul is the most diverse county in all of the Twin Cities. All of them. And yet we have the lowest income out of all of them. Mm-hmm. And hardly do people ever speak out. Why? Because you don't know your community. Do you deserve to be up there? Do you deserve to have those jobs if you don't know your community? What is the point of your job? Ask yourself that.
And some of
Do you know who
ran
she
on the
is?
Equity platform.
Do you guys know who she is? She was arrested by the federal government blocks away from this building. And this council didn't pass a resolution about that. The resolution that was passed did not mention the violation of the First Amendment that journalists are supposed to have.
And you were out there as
I was out there and I couldn't even do my job. I couldn't even do my job. I had to fall back because I have been so conditioned to know that if I continue to move forward in this moment, I could be hurt. I could not make it home to my kids. That is not any type of protection under the Constitution. That is repression. And that's happening right here in our city. Days before Melissa Hortman was assassinated, the woman who just spoke was arrested and nothing happened. It was swept under the rug. This entire city just continued to move forward. And yes, we're all grieving and we're all fearful. Yes, that's traumatizing to see an elected official assassinated. So I can understand why people may hesitate to speak out against these issues. But if we're going to have a president that is not going to show the leadership that you guys are showing.
We want her out. Rebecca Noecker, we want her out.
This is ridiculous. We can't just keep people. Right. You just said Hazel Park Academy Recreation, where children are. There are federal agents there. There needs to be emergency hearings. There needs to be emergency hearings by this council to set additional time, because obviously in these council meetings is not the appropriate time. There's not enough time or space or capacity.
The space.
Yeah. And it's been.
We need emergency hearings.
Doesn't allow for you don't just move on. This is not normal. You don't just move on with business as usual in your standard agenda. How often do we have to come and teach government this? Whether it's Minneapolis, St. Paul, the outlying suburbs, the governor, and the legislature, why do we have to keep teaching the same lessons about being attentive to the people who help keep the city and this government running? They shouldn't have to live in fear and not be able to speak up and to know that you all are actually listening. So we're calling on you all to take this opportunity to behave differently than what we have seen in the past.
And it didn't have to be like this.
No.
It didn't.
And as our Lord often reminds us, right, we cannot undo the masses' house with the masses' tool. And the shit that you all are doing is the masses' tools.
It is.
And you expect change to happen. You had these officers sitting here passively, and they say, we came to a meeting, we checked our box, we'll leave it. No action was taken, nothing was demanded of them.
The chief should have been here having an answer for why he allowed his officers to do what they did. Pepper spraying people, shooting people with rubber bullets. And not respecting people's First Amendment rights out there. So what's happening here that we think that that's acceptable? Yes. It's the residents that keep this city running. The residents are why the chief has a job, as well as those other officers. Mm-hmm. So they should be held accountable. They should have known better than to go out there in the first place and do what they did. And many of us, if not all of us, have been subjected to police violence.
That's right.
In one form or another for standing up for our basic human rights and human dignity. Yep. So to see the people running, screaming, being shot with rubber bullets, tear gas, that is so triggering. Just for saying, treat people like human beings. That's all people are asking for. So different times call for different measures. And when we have moments like this, we're asking you all to pay attention to the time that we're in. And if your normal processes and rules don't fit that, then change them based on the power that you have.
And stop calling this shit, this pepper spray non-lethal. These things burn. These things
very painful.
People.
They're less
that
lethal.
Rubber bullet will blind people.
It has blinded people.
It has blinded people.
The baseline
so please
is
stop
safety.
This bullshit.
The baseline is safety.
Yeah.
And if our local authorities that are supposed to bring safety are bringing more harm and violence, you need to question that. And that has been historically known in East St. Paul.
Come on.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Question yourselves that.
Come on.
You may look different. You may have a different experience. Great for you. Amazing. But we don't. I'm tired of this.
Yeah, the marginalization of folks in East St. Paul is baked into the system.
Yes.
When you look at the extreme poverty, the lack of business development, and the lack of support that people have, It's something that people have just accepted as the norm, but it's not the norm. That is a very vulnerable part of our community that deserves time and your attention. It's really that simple. So you guys see, we came in peace.
We did.
It would have been even more peaceful, though, if you had suspended your normal rules and just allowed people to express themselves. That's all people are asking, just to be heard. So what are the next steps from here? Because this is one example of community engagement in a way that you didn't anticipate, but more needs to happen beyond the passage of the resolution to help bring us towards healing as a community. So what do you all see as some possible next steps?
And I don't know how we're gonna do that when y'all got a president that gets up and walks out in the middle of a city council meeting because the community is asking to be heard. This lady literally is not even in here to hear half the grievances that we have as a community because clearly, obviously, she didn't care. She got up and walked out for a reason. So how can that be the leadership for the city of St. Paul?
And those are the two representatives that represent where the federal agents are at right now. I know it's somewhere on 7th Street. I mean, those two council people just got up and walked out.
East 7th, I was at.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
East 7th. That was East side.
So what do you guys see as possible next steps?
I'm not sure.
Sorry, for we should just set us off.
Nelsie, your mic's not off.
It won't come on.
I have so much respect for you all as I look at you. I see many faces that I've been out in the streets with, and I guess the police brutality, and so it means so much that you keep showing up over and over again. And one of the things I want to say before I make more comments is that our council president, she cares deeply about this, and so
you don't have to defend her. She can, but you don't need to, because her actions are speaking louder than your words. So let her defend herself. Just focus on your power.
Let me finish, all right? So what I want to say is that she cares deeply about this, and the reason why she's not here is because at the council we have like conversations about what protocol looks like whenever we would continue our business smoothly the way that we would like to. However, you know, it's not because she does before she does. And you know what? I want you to know that and if we don't want to be there.
We don't care. We don't care. Because it wasn't just the protocol, it was her energy, her attitude, and her privilege.
She showed us.
So you don't need to defend her. If she cared that much, she would be here defending herself.
And listening.
Okay, we're not a threat. We're just citizens here speaking the truth.
And if she
we want to know from you in terms of your power. We're not worried about her. If she cared, she would have been here.
So the other thing I want to add to is, you know, in the past we've had resolutions before that people have wanted to come and speak on in the moment. The ceasefire resolution for Gaza was one of them, and we did not open a public hearing for it. However, I will have to connect with our city attorney to see if that's something that we can suspend the rules for to do, because I personally am very vested in us, you know, problem solving together, and I don't ever want to see a repeat of what happened November 25th to happen again. If we can find a way to create that space for you all here, I'm really committed to that. I just need to make sure that I check with Dan, our city attorney first, because to me it is really important to hear what you all have to say, and really for us to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Like, it really requires for all of us to be doing that together, for communities to be able to come here and share with us exactly what you hope for that partnership to look like. And so right now in the moment, I don't have the answer yet, but I have to check again with our attorney if we can do that. If you can wait for a bit, please do. That way we can have conversations. And I hope that in a bit we would be able to have a public hearing. And I just want to say that what I'm doing here, it is actually not a part of our protocol at all. But it is really important for me that you all can walk away doing what you want to, which is, I understand, you just want to be heard. You want us to know what your experience was. And it's like, at minimum, what we can do is really open up a public hearing for you. And so I want to see Council Vice President, do you have something to say, Councilmember Coleman too, before you go and have conversation with Dan?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. I really appreciate the ask of what are you doing in Medicare. So I'm very invested in having a public hearing and a public forum I'm also really invested in having a meeting with community members and with the police chief and the council. If it is in this form or out in community, I think you all should decide where that is. You shouldn't have to come here to share those experiences with us. And I also want to acknowledge there's like a long history of this in some of our communities. And as our reporters tell us, this isn't the first time that they've been attacked in St. Paul. So we within my power, I want to co-create a space that feels safe, that there are parameters, that we have expectations for how the police is going to show up in that meeting, because they also need to hear it face to face. And also with them are deeply invested in ensuring that these accountability mechanisms happen. Like, it is one thing to put it on paper and pass it, but we need action, and it's a delayed action.
That's right.
And I think most importantly, we're good, is that in this chamber is like who is here before me are like leaders and people that I've looked to and followed. And so I also want to name within your power, you are showing up to demand different of the folks that you have helped lead and train and grow in our ecosystem of not just organizers, but people that are willing to fight in the moment, like fight on the front lines, like myself and my partner and other legislators and even community members, like all of you have literally put our black and brown bodies on the line. And now what we are asking for, which I was actually hesitant to say out loud, is we now need folks that are not from our communities to also be putting their bodies on the line, because there are literally people getting pulled out of cars at gunpoint.
That's right.
This could not be more dire. And at the same time, the accountability that all of you have been asking from us as a city and our police force for years is coming to a precipice, because the violence that we are experiencing, we know what this is named. We know what this is. And the fact that you are also here fighting for this accountability is incredibly important, and one that you've been asking for many, many. When I look across at all of you, I see people that have been asking for accountability from the city and has been asking it different from us leaders. So as someone that has positional power, I'm deeply invested in co-creating a space, ensuring it's safe and guided. I don't want St. Paul Police to roll up and have their statement be the way that they show up, or the police union show up in the way that they presented their statement. I think it's incredibly inappropriate. And also, like, name the things, like just a lack of any understanding of how systemic racism has shown up in our communities, and their tools that they're using to continue their oppression in our communities. So that is what I'm invested in. The last thing I want to note is honestly to the point around our press. Like, the best way that we get this information in and through our communities is when we have independent press that are showing up. And I saw George on the front lines. I saw you on the front lines right after the NPR reporter got hit. You were standing right there. We also have to include the very key and important role that press has to ensure transparency in our processes and transparency for our communities. And the last thing that I'll add is, like, your power community is my power. Like, yes, I am this seat, but like, if I am not a vehicle for the voice of what's happening in our communities on the north end, on the east side, just like Councilmember Yang and Councilmember Johnson, then what am I doing here?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I am more than willing to stand and burn all of my political capital to make this happen, because that's how important this issue is for me. So that is what I'm going to do with my power. And lastly, I just want to add another graciousness. When I look at all of you, I see people that spend political, community, physical, mental, emotional power to get here. And so I just want to just name for folks in the room, if you don't know who these folks are standing here in this meeting right now, then you are honestly lacking. You are the deficit for understanding what movement making takes, what protesting takes, and what creating change making takes. And so I just want to note that there are giants in this room right now. And if you don't know their names, please get to know them. And them showing up today might feel disruptive, but honestly, this is an honor for them to show up and hold our feet to the fire. So I would mean that is the last thing. And then I can pass it to you if you have things. It's always that. From my office to you, that is what we're messaged to do, and partner with Councilmember Yang and of course the Council President to make this happen. But that is my personal commitment to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for staying. We can't hear you.
Please hang around for a bit, because if we do have a public hearing, I do want to make sure that we can find a way to get our police chief to join us again and hear what he had to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And to you at the podium, thank you for your grace. We thought that this was important. No, we didn't intend to interrupt what you were doing, but we had to speak for the people. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.